Okay, hello. I'm Phil from DataShaka. So, who wants to get into a nice technical presentation on Lambda architectures in Prolog? Okay, sorry, I'm not going to talk about that. Me, I'm Phil, I'm CTO of DataShaka, just as Rob said. And I'm here because I was asked to come and talk about data and people. Tools within there, the data and people I've read, I've reported, there's some great points in there, which I myself have faced as we're building out the team at DataShaka and all those things. But with data and people, there are loads of things that need to be addressed. I'm trying to detail a whole bunch of them. But it's also, big data is part of a much bigger picture. There are things that you can do right now. So I'm going to talk to you about those things that you can do right now. Let's talk about the bigger picture around big data. So first of all, data and people. This is what people tell you they do when they work with data. This is what people really do when they work with data. Oh shit, they've now asked me to systemize that, and oh god, there's tracing, all that stuff. So this is what's happening. But when you're talking about data, what you're talking about is what you know and how you know it. That's really what we're talking about here. Data is something in this much bigger picture. And this bigger picture is called epistemology. And that is essentially the study of what you know and how you know it. So, epistemology. Right, so this is about knowledge. This book contains some knowledge. What they teach you at Harvard Business School, some knowledge is contained within that book. There's another book, what they do not teach you at Harvard Business School. So these two books together represent the sum total of all human knowledge. Absolute problems, I'm just going by them. That's my pitch, I'm off. Right, so that not being true, what have people done with knowledge? What happened before big data? What were people doing before? Because knowledge has been around for a long time. Knowledge management, it is such a long term that it doesn't easily fit on a slide. It's also something that many of you might have met, historically, knowledge management systems. If you go into it, you get to this lovely pyramid. We talk about data. We're talking about data and people. So somewhere in here, people have to come in, right? This pyramid talks about data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. It's something you'll find on the Wikipedia page. If you search lots of people, there are lots of consultancies that are built around this particular pyramid, with wisdom at the top. Wisdom, I would pitch, is not necessarily a business goal. It is something that people like to revel in. So if you dig in further, I said, let's lift the lid on this. What's going on? You get to this guy called Nonaka, and he's a Japanese business philosopher who talks about knowledge within business. Knowledge within business is, in his view, now a strategic imperative. You will fail if you don't embrace the knowledge through learning in your organization. He talks about this place called the ba. It's a Japanese word, but still. It means this shared context in motion. So it all gets very philosophical and very interesting, but it's a bit hard to apply. Because it's hard to apply, something interesting happened late 90s. I'm sure you've all met. The intranet. Many companies talked about this. It's a wonderful SharePoint intranet. This is where knowledge lived for many people. People tried to push it in there. And they said, this is the pinnacle. This is knowledge management. This is what it is. Then big data arrived and said, here is lots of data. Put that in your intranet. And everybody went, no, we can't. And now we need to do something else. So at DataShaka, one of the places where we start, when we're looking at the technology, when we're looking at what we do, is to talk about the data journey. This is similar in elements to the pyramid that we saw earlier. You'll notice data, information, and knowledge there. But when you look at it, the most important thing for business is this action. We've also represented it as a cycle. So, action, what is that? That is the things that you do in your business, or the things that people you do business at do. So when we're talking about digital marketing, you're trying to do something to get somebody else to do something, and eventually give you money. That's what action's all about. Because of the metering, because of analytics tools, because of all of the sensors everywhere, more and more action is being captured all the time. This is one of the roots of big data. Data in itself, as I said, is raw. It is useful to Rob, for example. I can give Rob 4 petabytes of data. I could do that, I could generate it, pretend it was real data, and I could give it to Rob. Rob will go, what do I now do? What Rob wants, sorry to call you out as an example, is information. In this definition, that is human scale data, data that somebody can work on. And to run presentation, there are tools and there are ways of that happening. There are people who need the skills to be able to make that movement happen to get to that information. Why does a business want that? Because they want their staff to know things. They want to know things, they want better things, they want to learn, and they want to stop acting on gut feel and just make it up. Experience is fantastic, but experience with knowledge is incredibly powerful. Experience and knowledge together lead to better informed action, and the cycle can continue. The point of this, the point of capturing that knowledge, the point of capturing the data to lead to that knowledge is better informed action. So, what can you actually start to do? First thing, divide that model through and say, where do the people sit? People sit over here. You'll find that people you know are fantastic at using knowledge to take action. We make decisions every day. It's what we're built to do. You build up this knowledge, you learn all the way from childhood all the way through to when you die. You continue to learn and you can take action. The other side of the line, I'm a massive nerd. So here is a machine. It's my favorite kind of machine. It's a robot. The bigger your data gets, the bigger and scarier your machines have to be. And ideally, they start carrying around a hammer, because that really helps, right? There are other kinds of machines as well. You've seen this machine over here. This is tidying things up. This is working on it. This is a set of tools that mechanically process data in various ways. You have another robot down here who is nice and is serving you up bits of stuff and delivering that information through. So, first thing to think about is actually make the things that are good at certain bits of skills, do them. You have too many people ferreting around up here, that can make your business slow down. It can limit the learning and cause mistakes and these things. So, I've just been bombarding you with a whole raft of knowledge management and big data and where things sit and cycles and all this stuff. So, what's this thing you can actually do now? What's the thing that any of us can do while we're searching out these data scientists, when we work out how to build this team? There are things we can actually do right now. First one is called data landscaping. And this is about sitting down and looking at the situation you're in. It's about accepting that data is a first-class instance in your business, and what you know comes from somewhere. So you need to work out where that is. So it's a very simple model, so it is a very simple slide. On this side, we have distant data. This is data that is far away from you. On this side, we have close data. This is close to you. That means inside your organization, and you can get at it in some way. The second axis is dark and light. This is data that you know how to do something with, and data that you don't know how to do something with. So, you have these 4 quadrants of external can't use, external can use, internal can't use, and internal can use. Very simple, purposefully so. It's where we start when we're engaging with somebody, when we're helping them out, deciding what tool they need, somewhere that we start. So, somebody else started doing something like this. Gartner have a paper written about dark and light data, just about this axis here. They put in, for example, dark data to them is the stuff that's close that you don't know how to do anything with. That was the topic of the paper. Over here, public data. We've all heard of public open data, these PDFs and CSV files that the government's chucking out to us. I'm pretty sure that you won't know what to do with them. If you do, come and tell me somewhere down here. Social media data. Many of us would have heard about this. This is moving up in terms of what you can do with it, and it's starting to get more interesting. And interesting means there is business value within. Commercial data. Commercial data is data that is available to buy, so your Nielsen's and Kantar's. And over here, operational data. Very simply defined as the data that you have, that you can use, and you are using right now. So, great, you've mapped all this stuff out. Don't worry, examples coming shortly. What can you do to move something from over here to over here? You need to get access. And access comes in 2 forms. One is financial. You can go and buy data. It's kind of a dirty word with open source and all this stuff. There are people who will sell it to you. Find out, say, I want to buy some data, and somebody will turn up, the salesman will come up and say, we have data, buy it. The other one is technological access. You need tools to get access to it. On this axis, on dark to light, to move things up, you need education. This is not the education that I'm talked about in terms of from a university level. This is inside your organization. People need to learn how to use data. This lightens it up. And overall, I think Rob slightly has wetted my powder on this one. You need tools. You need people who build tools, people who work with tools, and tools help. There are some pessimists, as Juan called out, who don't think the tools will help, but it's create more competition, make it more difficult. I believe they will, and I think we're quite happy through it. I think I'm an optimist. Tools will help. Right. What does this really mean? We went going all the way back to the time. When we talk about what we know and how we know it, talk about epistemology, there's this phasing that has happened. One of the signs that big data and the evolution of knowledge management has gone through is to say, this was the epistemology we used to work with. We know things. All the data comes from us. We will not let anything else in. We know. Second phase, they know. This is where you accept that somebody external to you, maybe social media, maybe a commercial source, knows something about your business, and you try and bring that in and conform it to your world. Third phase, which we're moving into now, is that we can know. People are accepting that they can learn through data. They can learn and they can interact and try things, and they can learn some more. That cycle, that data journey will turn quicker the more you learn and the quicker you can get in and work out what to do with that data. So, a real example. Right, here's the axis again. So, good friends at DBI, they're working very hard to make sure that this is close and light. Amongst other things, if you talk to them, that's what they'll do. Over here, we've all heard about these two. They're starting to go, okay, we can find out how many people are telling us that they like our brand. That is useful. It is lightening up. You still need to get hold of it. There are companies that will sell you that information. There are companies, Facebook itself, will just give it to you if you know how to incant to the API. There are other companies, Nielsen and Kantar, they've been going for a long time now, and they'll sell you God knows what data that they can get hold of and pretend that they think it's valuable, and then they'll munch it up and throw it at you. So they will do that. They will give you access if you give them money. New sources will come along, and people will go, what do we do with that? It's got some data. How do we get it? What do we do? And we'll start to need to move that. People will need to learn what to do. Over here, interesting companies will appear and say, you know what? You've got a huge amount of data in your email server that you have no idea about how to do anything with. We know about companies now, at least two of them, who are going, there are levels of value in that, the connectedness of people, all of these, whose emails who, all of that data should be available. It's yours, you've got it in your servers, why can't you use it? Somebody in marketing may be running a SurveyMonkey survey, they may be asking people questions. Do you know about that? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Do you know how to use it? And last of all, there are other things like, will Tesco give you some Club Card data? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? A whole bunch of that. Barb. We've heard of Barb. We know that they check what people watch on TV and have this wonderful sampling methodology, and we have, you know, wonderful statistically correct numbers, and people are using that. Can I? If I walk up and ask them, what do I have to do? How do I use Barb data? All the way through to the government and radar, which is radio data. So, what can you do right now? Accept the fact that this is here. Pick one when you've drawn this up on a piece of paper and drawn it all out, and try and move it. You will find some move a lot more easier than others. You can do this. You can do this right now. Get a piece of paper, get a beer, do this with some friends. Right? Do it, Rob. I'm sure he'd love that. There we go. That's what you can do. Very simple.